Should I tell my recent GF that I am bisexual? I am 36, have met my GF, F25, 5 months ago. It's been going great and we have great chemistry. Background, I am bisexual, a bit more into women. I have never cheated on any GF with a man before. Frequently gotten tested. 6 years ago, I told a previous GF 2 months in and she said I was disgusting and in the closet and that I am sleeping with men during our relationship and dumped me, when I didn't. It really hurted me. The next relationship, 2 years later, did that again 1 month in. She definitely got turned off but broke up with me a couple of weeks later to not seem biphobic, even though it was going well before I told her. Got a new job in a whole different state. Fresh slate. I have no social media presence. Met my recent GF. She's bo today I fucked up and sweet. I'm more than happy to never have sex with a man again as long as I am with her. I believe that men bisexuality is heavily misunderstood. I want to tell her but I am afraid it will cause things to end. Should I tell her or just keep it to myself? Too long didn't read. Bad experiences telling GFs I am bi. I would never cheat with a man. Should I tell my recent GF? As others here have said, yes I would tell her. I'm bi myself and it's a surefire sign to dip out if they react badly when you tell them about it. It's just part of who you are and if they can't accept that then you'd be dodging a bullet right there. I'm a bi woman, and big same. I've only dated a small handful of straight men because they are often so gross when I tell them I'm bi. It's something I would always do on the first date. If they said something gross about it being hot, I was out. It's a great gauge of character. My partner identifies as bisexual, he's a guy. I am also bi, I'm a girl. Talked about it a few weeks in. We've now been dating for nearly 4 years, we are monogamous. Maybe it was easier for me to understand that his sexuality wasn't a threat to me because I knew mine wasn't a threat to him. As long as your girlfriend has more than a few brain cells and a healthy amount of empathy you should be fine to tell her. Your exes sound like morons. I'm bisexual and while it's more acceptable for women, at a certain point as an adult I started to disclose it right away because if the first thing out of your mouth is how I'll cheat or angling for a threesome, I want to know you're that kind of person now so we can get on with our lives. I used to hide that side of myself and while I'm monogamous, it was stifling. I felt more pressure to perform heterosexual sexual scripts. A lot of people don't realize how much relationship behavior can be tied to gender and sexual expectations. And ultimately I was downplaying a big part of my past, my inner world, and my community. Being open with my husband means I still go to Pride, we share celebrity crushes, he gets jokes about how bisexuals can't sit right, my right foot is getting numb as I type, and he sends LGBT TikToks to me during the workday. There's a level of trust I never had with other men I dated. I'm not exactly bisexual but I understand your situation. I'm a cross-dresser / man who sometimes cross-dresses a woman, and I also got broke up with GFs in the past because of this reason. First one I hid it and one day it exposed during 18 months of the relationship. She, first ex, never told me directly, lied to me that she could accept it. And the result was she went back to her ex-boyfriend. As I moved on and found my second ex, we were in a relationship for 5 months and I told her about this directly. She was fine at first but after 2 months, she broke up with me and said she wasn't fine and hope I could be a normal man for her. So I realized, why not tell them first? If they can't accept my true self, what's the point of trying and lying and hiding? So about 2 years ago, I started a new relationship with my previous GF, recently broke up because our long-distance relationship started to hurt each other. She moved to Canada after 3 months of relationship and I still live in Thailand. I told her right away when I asked her to be my GF that I'm not like normal guys out there, blah, blah blah. And she never hated me for that. So, just tell the lady, who you like and want to build / start a relationship, about your true self. For me it's better tell her / them first. Let her / them know. My 18M, sister, 18MTF trans, cut me out because I still have a relationship with our parents, 50M and 48F. My sister, 18, recently came out as trans, MTF, about a month ago. Our parents are very wealthy and are paying for college for us and will give us each 500k when we graduate plus money for a house. However, they are not very accepting to the trans community. They accepted me when I came out as gay last year. As a result, they are not very accepting of my sister and kicked her out, stopped paying for her college, and are no longer going to give her money when she graduates. While I do not support what my parents did, I am still maintaining a relationship with my parents because I can support myself. I run a successful side business and make decent money in the stock and crypto market. I would rather save the money I earn while my parents fund my college. And so they give me 500k and money for a house when I graduate. I have 1 year left. My sister is pissed off at me because I am still maintaining a relationship with our parents who do not accept her for who she is. Privately, she yelled at me and cut me out. It has been a month since that happened and she hasn't forgiven me or even reached out. We were twins and grew up very close and it pains me to see that she cut me off. What can I do to mend our relationship without risking my financial support from my parents taken away? Too long didn't read. My sister came out as trans and our parents were not accepting of her. She is mad at me for not cutting out my parents, which I did to keep my financial support. Your sister probably feels that you chose money over her. She was abandoned by your parents. I'm not saying she's right to say you need to cut out your parents too, but I'm assuming it's not a close dynamic since you haven't said squat about them besides that they're rich. My sister is my BFF and if my parents were to kick her out because she finally wanted to become her true self, I wouldn't hesitate to drop them. You chose money. Hey, I don't have a ton of time to write an in-depth comment, but a similar thing happened to me where I was the trans child and my brother, my best friend growing up, accidentally outed me to my parents and then kept relying on their support while I was disowned. It sucks, and you can want the fairy tale of someone choosing you and your side because it feels right even if it also seems wildly unfeasible. If you want to message to talk about how we mended our relationship, I will be more available to talk in the next couple of days. On some real shit, your parents is absolutely wrong. But instead answering your question, I want you to put yourself in her shoes. I want you to feel what she feels. You're already gay. There's no possible way they could accept you and not her. It's kinda the same. She's trans and you're gay. Before she became trans she was lesbian, which is still the same. How could they accept you and not her? That doesn't make any sense. But since this is where we are, I feel like she shouldn't be upset at you because you didn't make those decisions, your parents did. But I feel like you haven't been so worried about your sister as you claim. If y'all are thick as thieves as you claim, it's more to this story on why she still would be upset at you. On top of that, they took her money for college. That's enough stressed as it is. I think you should be more understanding. I also don't think she's mad at you for maintaining a relationship with your parents. She's more so upset because nobody sees her point of view, not even you. You should have stood up for your sister. You said you didn't agree with what your parents. You should have showed your sister you understand because you are gay and you should know how the LGBTQ people get treated even by family. Thoughts on explicitly planning to share the 500k with your sister, and telling her so? That might help her see you as more on her side, and it sounds like you were wanting to spend some on her anyway. Not gonna happen. Obviously wants the money. I don't blame them, it's not their fault the parents are unfair to a sibling. But imagine being a sibling, who has a gay sibling that came out to the parents and parents were like, okay, you can still be our child and have the benefits. Then a twin comes out as trans and the parents are like, nah, gay child is enough in this family, disowned. The F? If I were up, I would tell my parents how fucked up they are by playing financial favorites over someone's gender identity. I wouldn't really want to associate with someone who had a relationship with toxic people who disowned me. Your sister doesn't have the luxury to look past people's discrimination. I, 38M, am angry and bitter with my wife, 38F, for not letting me travel. I've been married for 17 happy years. I've always been supportive of my wife's right to travel. She was born in Brazil and goes home often. A couple of years ago, she got a job at the airport, and now we have the ability to fly standby. She has routinely traveled to Brazil, Florida, California, New York, etc. I'm always happy to see her go and enjoy herself. Before COVID-19 hit, I wanted to go on a trip to Cancun with a friend for a short weekend. My wife doesn't approve of this friend, and granted, he's been a drinking buddy. But beyond that, we've never gotten into any trouble together besides drinking. She forbid me from going with him. I said fine, I get it. I'll just go by myself. She said no Cancun. I said, okay, I really wanted to go to Vegas. She said no again. She wanted to go with me if I went to Vegas. She told me I could go see a family member if I wanted. In effect, it came down to the fact that they were her standby tickets and it was her decision. I ended up staying home while she visited family in Brazil. Needless to say, COVID-19 hit, and I've been bitter about that ever since. I feel like she stole something from me and has no power to return it. I was laid off last year and I'm still searching for a job, so my ability to travel has been further impaired by lack of funds. Enter the current situation, and her friend invited her to go to Cancun, expenses paid. I didn't stop her from going, although she offered not to after I pointed out the hypocrisy in her going. But then what? She tells her friend that she's not allowed to go because of me, and then I look like the jackass. I told her to go. So here I am at home and I'm extremely bitter and resentful. I feel like I've spent our whole marriage paying for expensive tickets to send her to Brazil once to twice a year. More often than not, I couldn't afford to go with her or get the time off of work. But it was important to me that she go. Thankfully we don't have to pay for tickets anymore, and she can travel even more often. I feel like I've been so supportive of her. But in this particular instance, I am bitter and unhappy. The videos and photos her friend is posting on Facebook make me angry. I noticed that my wife has not posted anything of her own. So she apparently got the message that she shouldn't rub salt in the wound. So the problem I'm experiencing is that I was deprived of the right to travel, and now I also get the added benefit of feeling bitter and angry about it. I know it's not worth it for me to feel this way. It doesn't fix anything. But I don't know how to feel any different. I'm not even looking for equality. I know that as the main breadwinner in our household, I don't get the same travel freedoms that she does. That's okay. After talking with her at length, she apologized. But I'm still bitter x10. How can I move on from this and forgive her? Too long didn't read. My wife forbid me from going to Cancun with a friend, or alone for that matter, but then went to Cancun with her friend. Stop asking for permission, she isn't your mom. I'm kinda surprised I'm not seeing anyone ask about the friend. Why doesn't she like this friend you wanted to go with? If it were another friend, do you think her reaction would be the same? I'm wondering about the "we've never gotten into any trouble together besides drinking" comment. I had an ex who went on drinking buddy trips, so that's kind of the first thing I latched on to here. Their behavior, getting shit-faced in another country and maybe getting hurt or in trouble, concerned me. Some buddies just have a way of egging each other on. I was not preventing him from going, but just offering the thought that maybe there's a reason why this particular friend worries her. I feel like that's maybe a gap in the story. Good question. She doesn't particularly like him as a person, or the fact that we have drank too much in the past. I get that. If she was worried we'd be at risk by being there together and drinking too much, I was fine with going alone instead and just doing some normal tourist stuff by myself. But obviously that wasn't her major hang-up, since she didn't want me to go alone either.